Yeah. Uh, Two things, no? One is evaluation form. First, the GC Secretariat will share a link to an evaluation form for today's Kamayan Forum session in the chat box. This link will also be fastened or flashed in this on screen. Please take your time to give us a feedback to help us improve the forum. And second, for those who need an e-certificate of participation, it's available upon request. Pero may two requirements. The participant must have been actually present in the forum, not only pre-registered, dapat present. And the participant must submit a duly accomplished evaluation form.
Okay.
Okay?
Going to into the open forum for Father Jet and Vicky for the
Oh yeah, okay.
forum.
To ask a question or share a comment, you may either raise your hand to verbalize it or post your question or comment in the chat box. And I will read it, or siguro si Marie will read it. Please unmute your microphone as soon as your name is called. Give your name and organization, school or location, then state your question and to whom it is directed to. And lastly, number 4, we will take as many questions as time permits on a first come, first served basis. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the floor is now open.
Ready na tayo. Sinina ba ang first question? Kanina.
Yeah, looks like it.
Question, I have a comment, but I'd rather the others go first because my sharing will be a bit long.
Okay, okay. Sige. So, who wants to go first? Question. Question.
Wala pa siguro. Maybe we can have Nina do her sharing
Okay.
while others think of what to ask. No?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a very enriching sharing by the three. Really, I'm glad we chose this topic. And looking at their different lenses by which they look at the world or explain the world, I'm thinking that, these three are not at all contradictory, but they're very complementary. And one thing that they all teach is that they teach us to be good, no? The Catholic, maybe Christian religions say when we do bad, we have a sin. We commit a sin. I think it's just a simplistic way. We go deeper into why it's a sin, no? But we say we offend God, our Creator, who gave us everything we need, which is easy to believe or understand even by kids. So, but it helps us to be good, no? Otherwise, we will have those blotches in our hearts, small and big ones. Um, the indigenous, si Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you.
The indigenous people say that you have to think of how you leave the world to generations, generations from you. But Jesus Christ actually died for us, and we are so many generations away from him. He was thinking of us, of all that will follow him till the world ends, no? So it's along the same line. We think of others in this and in coming generations. And more recently, of course, Pope Francis connects the cry of the earth with the cry of the poor. How we are affecting the lives of people, of especially the marginalized, if we don't take care of the world that sustains them and us. Um, our AJ talks about karma. Okay, what you do to others and to the natural world will get back to you. That's also another way of saying be good because otherwise your faith will will show that you did not do right by nature and by people, so you'll suffer the consequences. And then his very strong emphasis on don't destroy nature for the sake of fun or for nothing. If you need to, if you need food, for example, you harvest. If you need it for other things, yes, but not just for no reason at all. Well, Vicky really gave us a very holistic view of things. The connection of nature, culture, ecology, and the laws that bind us all. Um, through their language, behavior, rituals, guidelines, how to live. It was so whole, Vicky, really, how you explained it. But sometimes I'm thinking, will the idea that your grandchildren will hear bad things about you when you die, will that be a disincentive to our politicians? I wonder
I
if it
hope
will
so.
work. Mukhang wala yatang
Yeah.
ano, whether it's a
Makapal,
sin or whether it's karma or
makapal.
whether it's what they will say at your wake.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully, some are listening and will think, oh nga, ano, magpapakabait na ako.
We were not
Thank you
taught
very much, Father
there
Jet and
about that.
Vicky. Thank you. That's my
Okay,
sharing.
that's very nice, Nina. Your thoughts, yeah. Any
We have
other?
a question from
Oh,
a certain Jerome Guma Gumaygay.
Mm.
I wonder if I said it right.
Uh-huh.
The question is, how do we balance for indigenous sacred traditions with evolution of creativity? Thanks very much. I guess that goes to Vicky.
Well, yeah, well, as I said, we are always evolving, no? We have our traditions, but of course we adapt, as was mentioned earlier. No, if you don't adapt, you will cease to exist, no? So we evolve. We also, I mean, in fact, one of the things that we talk about is technology, no? Like we teach our young people, they know how to do GPS, GIS, and we encourage them to do this because it helps them to do mapping of our territories, and which is very much needed when you apply for a certificate of ancestral domain title, as well as a resource inventory, which will identify what are the resources that you have, whether in terms of plants, of animals, of microorganisms, among others. No, you are able to do a resource inventory as well. So we use the sciences and the technologies that are now present for us to be able to know more about our own territories and to have a better sense of how to protect further these territories. So I think that while we maintain the traditional values, we do the rituals, we also are not blind to the developments around us, and we use some of the developments to our advantage. Of course, the ones that we don't like, especially those that really lead towards more individualistic and selfish you know interests, we try to criticize this as best as we can. I know whether these are in relation to so-called mining projects, like your mining projects or whatever, na those that are in the end will destroy what we have. Then of course we have to speak out louder. But I think that we are we are selective. We know that we have to adapt to the changes that are happening, and we know that we have to use existing knowledge, no, the sciences as well as the technologies, for us to be able to do better in sustaining our ecosystem, and of course maintaining our own identities and cultures as indigenous peoples.
Right.
okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Vicky. Mark. Oh, there's Tessa again. Tessa, yes, please, let's have your question.
Yes, actually, I'd like, I would just like to comment on what Father Jet said about the seventh day. You know, we always thought that the seventh day was
Rest
just
day.
mag-rest ka na, punta ka ng church, ganyan,
Oh,
ganyan. Pero napaka-deep pala yung ibig sabihin nun, no? And it applies to all creation, not just to man. Na kailangan pala talaga to. So I was just thinking, kasi sa lifestyle natin, yung consumerist na nga tayo, mga throwaway, lahat-lahat na to. Paano ba natin mababalik tong uh, etong values of humility, of yung kasi talaga parang nag-iiba na talaga yung mundo natin, and I think we should start doing something about it so that we maintain yung what Father said na about the seventh day.
Yeah.
So Father, ano ba ang pwede nating magawa?
Actually,
Okay,
nabanggit
Father.
na rin, Tess, nabanggit na rin ni AJ kanina, di ba? At ni Vicky rin. There are elements in our traditions where we actually are invited to pause. It doesn't mean 7 days, one whole day, di ba? It's, as you said, it's symbolic. It's mindfulness. It's contemplation.
Hmm.
Um, even while eating, if you are not mindful, di ba, kunyari fast food, di ba, kain ka lang ng kain. But,
Pagbibilukan ka.
yeah, but the best part is the after, di ba? The aftertaste, uh, pagtapos na. Eh yun, minsan wala na tayong panahon para doon. Or even before a meal, just to pause, to be quiet, to be grateful, to pray for some of us, right? To acknowledge that there are people who made this possible, these gifts that are before me. So that helps it, I think. So what does not help is you just go from one channel to another, you keep scrolling, and then you get addicted to it so that we don't get used to silence. We don't get used to stopping. Parang anyway, so I think we can cultivate these habits of mindfulness whenever, wherever we can. It helps to physically stop or even be quiet, and just listen and not just keep talking and talking. I think that will help us listen. Anyway,
Yes,
Beautiful.
sometimes people are no longer comfortable with silence, hindi ba? So maybe that's a good starting point.
Yeah, you have to hear your inner self, where your
Mindfulness.
spirit resides.
Okay. Okay.
If you're
Beautiful.
everything
Thank you, Father
sa
Jet.
labas, naku, ang hirap. Anyway, yeah.
There's another question by Bong.
Yes, Bong, what's your question?
our parents all give up their life.
Talk about karma.
Ayan.
Papa.
Our pet dog gave up her life to extend the visa of my mother-in-law. What? 1999. They later met in 2015. Oh, please explain further.
How is that? I don't understand.
Visa, okay. Who sent this?
Can we ask Bong to talk? Where
Jerome?
is Bong?
Can you please explain how a dog extended the visa of my mother-in-law?
And then they later met.
Whoa. Okay.
Wala si Bong.
Wala. Okay.
Mahirap maintindihan yung question.
Oh.
Anyway, ako na lang, I have another question for Vicky. Paano ba ma-integrate ito sa ating education? Itong values ng indigenous peoples?
Yeah. Well, meron ang ating DepEd, di ba meron silang tinatawag na IP education. supposed to be, and that part of the Department of Education really needs to develop further yung mga materials nila, at saka yung train yung kanilang teachers, kasi we tried to have a meeting with several teachers tsaka mga ano on this issue of indigenous language. Tapos 'di ba yung mother tongue language, inaalaw yan hanggang 7 years old or more. Tapos ngayon gumawa ng batas ang mga senator at congress na tanggalin yung mother tongue based multilingual education, no? So anyway, in that meeting which we had, I mentioned that, and I said that, I mean, instead of you supporting this effort to get rid of mother tongue language. In fact, you should get more support and get more resources para makapaggawa kayo ng mga materials, no? Mga education material, whether these are stories, no? Stories man yan, or whatever na pwedeng i-share more widely sa mga estudyante. Kasi ito naman yung mga halimbawa for the young people, yung mga ganyang storybooks, mahalaga naman yan eh. 'Di ba? Kung ano, sabi naman ng DepEd, meron daw silang ginawang ganyan. Like, for instance, pumunta daw sila sa Bugyas, may na-develop silang parang stories from the Kanakanaw in Southern Benguet, ganun. So, hindi ko pa nakita yun. Pero sabi nila, they are doing their effort. The other thing is yung orthographies, no? Tumutulong kami sa pagde-develop din ng mga orthographies ng mga iba't ibang indigenous languages. Kasi halimbawa sa Pilipinas, 180 yata daw ang languages, almost 90% of it are indigenous languages. No, kanya lang wala naman mga materialis or orthographies about these languages. So tumulong kami sa mga Iromanin, Minobo sa Cotabato. Tapos na-discover namin na meron pa palang 13 na parang sub-languages sila. 'Di ba? So napakayaman talaga ng ating bansa in terms of diversity, cultural and linguistic. Kaya the Department of Education should really do much more about this. I'm appealing to the in IPED, the Indigenous People's Education Department of the DepEd to be to do much more, and for DepEd to provide more resources from them. No, instead of, imagine, I mean, you can easily allocate 10 million for a book of somebody na ano na wala namang tore-tore, pwede namang gamitin yung ganun for these indigenous stories, whether these are folk tales or just stories about their own values and their own rituals.
Yes, I think they can also use film because it's very popular with kids now,
Exactly.
and it's very powerful film, no? So maraming
Definitely.
magagawa, film and music.
Exactly. Music as well. Oo, kasi tama. Kasi kami nga, marami kaming mga native, di ba, yung aming mga daig,
Yes.
mga liwliwa. Lahat, marami kaming mga music na ganun. Pwede naman ituro yun. Although
Yes.
we are doing our best to try to teach our own children, but to be mainstream, it's a good idea.
Yeah. When they started values education, I think that was in 1970s. I was connected with Fund for Assistance to Private Education, and I was telling Dex pa at that time. Tagal na.
Oo.
Sabi ko, you can't teach values education na parang one sub 140-minute session on honesty. Parang hindi ka magturo ng honesty. Hindi ka
Hindi ka
magturo
politician
ng values sa isang 40-minute session, no? Love of country, 40 minutes session. Alam mo, hindi gano'n. Paano
Hindi
ba
nga.
yun? Napaka-theoretical.
Oo.
When you teach values, it has to permeate the entire system, all the
Exactly.
subjects.
Yeah, definitely.
Alam mo, lahat yun, and the community has to exemplify those values para maging model, no, ng mga bata. So that's what
Exactly.
they see and that's what they will do, di ba?
Oo.
Ng mga values. Nagrereklamo ko, naalala ko. Bakit kayo exchange gift ng mga bata, Catholic school, sabi ko, bakit sinasabi nyo minimum minimum 200 pesos. Eh, paano you can't afford? Hindi ba yung spirit nun is the giving, hindi the value, the monetary cost? Eh, parang mali yung value na tinuturo nyo. Ay, mas mahal yung binigay ko sa'yo kaysa sa binigay mo sa akin. Tama ba yun? Yun yung mga ibig kong sabihin na how do you teach that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
We
Tessa,
see Father
Nandyan
Jet
yung
raising his
visa.
hand.
ha?
Nari? Si
Father
Father
Jet?
Jet is raising his
Oh,
hand.
yes, Father Jeff, please, let's just talk.
No, I just wanted, in terms of values, kasi, di ba, I think one of the most difficult things to teach is how to value the common good.
Yes.
Common good it's so abstract, di ba? And I usually show this picture of this girl sa Inquirer yata yun eh, isang baha. And she was carrying the Philippine flag, going, going against the tide, kumbaga. But she's bumabaha, tapos yun ang kinuha niya, yung flag. Ang hirap, sa mo natuturo yung pagmamahal sa inang bayan. Uh, kung mahirap ng ituro yun, paano pa kaya yung pagmamahal sa inang kalikasan? And I think that that's something that we need to look at. I mean, it happens. It's there. Tayo, bakit ba natin, paano tayo natutong magmahal sa, hindi lang sa isang tao kundi sa isang bayan. No?
Mahal lang, oo.
We have to examine ourselves. Diba? Who taught us? And how was it done? What experiences helped us value the common good? Because I think that's, even politicians need to learn that. Diba?
Especially
Tell
politicians.
them.
Especially
We
politicians.
can
You know,
dream.
Father Jet, that reminds me, talking about love, you were talking about love. So that reminds me, one time, I was traveling with one of our funders sa aking NGO. This is a very good person, very caring. Naghahanap talaga siya ng funds to fund our projects, for the good of the Filipinos, no? So, tapos nung we were traveling, may nagsabi, palagay daw sa aming itinerary, yung church visit. Tapos tumawa siya, tapos sabi niya, oh, but I'm atheistic. Sabi niya, I don't believe in God. Tapos di tumahimik lahat. Di parang ano naman ako kasi, bakit lahat tumahimik? Ganyan. Sabi ko sa kanya, well, do you believe in love? Sabi ko. Sabi niya, he doesn't believe in God. Sabi niya, of course. Well, that's fine. God is love. So that's fine. Tapos, may nag-criticize sa akin. Bakit ko daw sinabi yun? Hindi daw yung tama. So, anyway, what do you say, Father?
Well, we have what is called anonymous Christians, di ba?
Yeah.
In fact, that was a big thing in the church because when Paul started going out of the usual boundaries into Gentile territory, people were questioning. I think we have a broader view now, thankfully, of what religion and faith is.
Pero really, that's my thought. God is love, then if you believe in love and you practice love, then you're okay. Di ba? You're fine. Alam mo, tingin ko, a lot of people who say they don't believe are really against religious practices, not against higher being per se, no, but against religious practices na hindi nila gusto, So,
Well, also that they're also against an oppressive idea of God, di ba?
yes, yes. As a
Um,
matter of fact, my sister once wrote a poem that said, "My God is not a monster."
yeah, yeah. So it's that. It's
So yun yung mga naiisip ng mga tao kung bakit ayaw nila. Sasabihin nila, they don't believe.
Okay, okay. Wait, before we go to Dr. Galang, who has his hands raised, let's go back to Bong, the one who asked this question, but he left because his tab was lost power, no? So
Oh,
Bong, you're on.
so he came back.
He's
Good,
back.
good. Yes, yes, Bong. Is he
Oh.
eating?
I'm on my ano na, I'm
Can you
on
just explain
my
your
iPhone
your
already.
Ah, okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead now.
I'll just explain na. So, my mother-in-law had an unknown condition in 1999 when he collapsed at the clinic of the doctor, and she was directed to the emergency room in the hospital, and she stayed in the hospital for 4 days. And during that 4 days, our pet dog suddenly disappeared. And on the fourth day, nung na-release na yung mother-in-law ko sa hospital, umuwi na, okay lang, hindi pa rin nakita yung aso. Pero nung dumating yung result ng mammography niya, doon din na lumitaw yung aso, doon sa ilalim ng sasakyan, putok yung dede niya. So in effect, our pet dog absorbed the sickness of my mother-in-law on that particular time. And they eventually met 16 years after when my mother-in-law finally died.
Oh,
They
so
met.
that's yeah.
You know, it also boils down to the interconnectivity between all beings in this planet.
Yes.
Kasi lahat naman tayo ginawa ng Diyos eh. Hindi ba? So yun ang ano ko, yun ang yun ang sharing ko. Nagka-problema ko sa tab ko, nawala yung bigla yung ano, yung
Okay
app.
lang.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very much
sharing.
for that
Thank
sharing.
you very much po.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go to Dr. Jean. You have a question?
You
And
know,
then,
how can I comment? Yeah, many people believe that that when someone gets sick, their pet um gets the disease for
saves
himself
them.
for itself, and so that the master will get well.
Yeah.
Anyway, going to the question, how do we instill love for the common good? I think that's what spirituality is all about,
Yeah.
that you are concerned with something beyond yourself,
Yes.
and that's the common good, the good of all generations. So people who are spiritual are also good in the sense that they don't do things which will harm the common good. Um, there's another thing I wanted to say. You know, I'm so glad Father J think of kalikasan and give it the term creation. Who created it? So you cannot but believe in a creator. One time I read an article which said the author said he or she was an atheist, and then he or she mentioned Stephen
Uh-huh.
Hawkins, who was supposed to be an atheist
Yeah.
also. And so parang they were saying, well, when we die, that's it. We're a mass of atoms and molecules and etc. And then the author said, good Stephen Hawking had just died. And the author said, rest well, Stephen. So parang he was contradicting himself, di ba?
Mm.
Why do you say that when you think Stephen is already just a mass of atoms and molecules? Wala na. He doesn't rest. He's not nothing. He doesn't feel anything. But when he said rest well, that means somehow, subconsciously, the author, believed that there was something beyond the grave. So I think atheists probably have a lot to, they are probably more conflicted.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
Parang contradictory yung mga sometimes what they say. Anyway, I hope I'm not criticizing them, but I wish them well. I think believing in a God gives us more uh, we're more in touch with ourselves, I think, huh? Okay, that's my thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. But I think, many of those who say they are atheists are actually more spiritual than some very religious people, because they really do good for others rather than talk about it or, you know. Anyway, let's listen to Gwen. Gwen, you have a question?
Hi.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi. Greetings from Nueva Ecija. I'm visiting my Morena Lacali relatives here. So
Oh,
I will
okay.
not use my video na kasi my grandnephew might just appear by my side and tamper with my laptop. So there. Anyway, with regard to what the Dr. Nina and Bong was saying, my medical doctor mother, a nature lover, also believed that sometimes our pets had a way of saving us from illnesses.
Yes.
And a few hours, you know what? Maybe I shared this with Dr. Nina already. A few hours after my mom passed away, all her dogs surrounded her on the bed. Yeah. And even during the wake, aba, when the visitors were already gone down, they were praying there near the coffin. Parang ganyan. Me personally, I believe there's a certain kind of animal spirit there. And I think Dr. Donna will also believe this because she's also, and Mila also fond of cats and the dogs. Okay. What I wanted to say, muna, our Green Convergence Network is very honored, no, to have both Father Jet and Vicky here today and the other one. The mga international Filipinos making waves also or strides at the international level. So my
Yes.
question, maybe for both of you, but I think maybe more Father Jet, kasi I'm not sure if Vicky, my first question, Vicky, have you read Laudato Si? Anyway, or maybe for both of you, if you want to ask, but I think it's more Father Jet, maybe so that the audience who are watching now and those who will watch the recorded video will know more about this. Can you parang share insights about Pope Francis or Laudato Si insights about the indigenous people or maybe whatever, even the Amazon, like that, so that we can further see the connection or to deepen our discussion about spirituality, earth care, and the indigenous people. Yan lang.
Oh.
Ay, Father Jet pala is a fellow Jesuit volunteer. Hi, Father Jet.
Ano, Gwen? Sorry,
Yes, Father.
Gwen. Sandali.
Gwen, explain your question.
Oo nga,
Yung
pakiulit.
question ko, Father, any insights from Pope Francis or Laudato Si about the indigenous people? How close? How did he value or how close was? Parang so that the audience will also, and it's
Malakas.
recorded.
Malakas. Remember when he went to the Amazon sa Brazil, di ba? Yeah. Well, first of all, kasi di ba, the indigenous people, they have not lost touch with their being rooted in the land. Di ba? Even in our culture, in the different groups that we have, di ba? For example, a child asks now, if our goal is to go to heaven, why do we dig the earth? Di ba? And other such questions. But there are also certain elements in our culture, I don't know if it's indigenous o Pinoy, di ba? Nandun yung bayanihan, yung kahit sa Batanes, the collective, our identity is not singular. We relate to ourselves and to each other because of the collective, di ba? The community is very important. And that is shown in the way we relate to each other, even the way we build our houses, our homes. We don't build them alone. We need the community. And that's my worry because of this relentless growth and this growing that we might lose our connection to the earth. That's what human means, di ba? Humus, di ba? Lupa. In the creation story, galing tayo doon sa lupa. And our disconnection from the earth can be tragic, can be the end of us all. So yun, that's what we're trying to recover, and our indigenous brothers and sisters are helping us to recover that truth, yung pagkaugat natin sa lupa. Now, alam yun ni Pope Francis, kaya nga he values the rich tradition of our indigenous brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Father Jet.
Okay.
We have one more
Thanks, Father
question,
Jet.
probably the last question,
Yes. Just yeah.
from Alfredo Aguilar Jr. My question is addressed to Father Jet. Is there a possibility that the lesson of being mindful, especially in relation to taking good care of nature, be integrated in schools, both private and public, without neglecting the beliefs of other people? This concept is quite good po kasi because it gives emphasis on the importance of rest, which is primarily important, that is, the rest both in humans and nature. Thanks po very much. Father Jeff?
Alam niyo, yes, of course. This thing about being mindful transcends religious boundaries.
Yes.
It's very human. Naalala ko kasi si Coach Tai, who's Buddhist. Remember when we used to have a very strong volleyball team, sila Eliza Valdez.
Yeah.
Naalala niyo yan?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Maraming taon na. Pero he instituted a practice in between sets. Imbis na mag-practice, ano yung ginagawa ng mga babae? Nakaupo sila. Tapos, nakapikit, humihinga.
Or meditate.
Oo, in between sets, sabi ko, okay to ah. Tapos minsan nandun ako sa dugout, tingnan ko rin sila. Dasal siguro, pwedeng sabihin dasal, pero they were just sitting still and breathing. So that's something I think that can be taught, and it's not specifically religious, really,
Yes.
but it teaches you, I guess, also respect, attention to the rhythm of your body, your breathing, what sustains you, etc. No? So yun, pwede mangyari yun. And I've seen even one politician teach meditation. Good politician, sorry. Meron naman na mababait, no? A young guy, he was teaching us to meditate. Ilang minuto lang. Ako, bago ako magturo, nagdadasal ako eh. Pero sabi ko, may mga ibang estudyante dito siguro hindi na naniniwala sa Diyos eh. Pero sabi ko, kung di kayo naniniwala sa Diyos, at least tumahimik kayo. Kahit isang minuto lang. Moment of silence. That helps it. This self, hindi naman being self-indulgent but it helps really cultivating a reflective disposition, which can easily get lost in our very hectic lifestyle these days.
Beautiful.
Yes. Dapat siguro instead of ROTC, mindfulness. Ang gawin. Anyway. Yes,
Parang
thank you very much.
if I may, Marie, parang
Ah,
it's welling inside me. I want to share
okay, please
something
do, Randy.
about
No, or
spirituality.
you want to do it sa end.
No, ngayon na siguro. It's
Sige,
spilling over already.
when the spirit moves
I
you.
said, I said yes to Tessa to co-moderate because I like the topic. It's very close to me because I'm a biker. Anong connection nun?
Oo.
Ganito eh. We would bike pa iba-ibang ruta namin, but there are times we would go to La Mesa, no? Do dirt trail biking, no? Under the canopy of trees, no? And one time even our bike group did some tree planting in La Mesa. And while we were doing that, I just looked at it. I let my senses be very active, be alive, I was being mindful to my senses. All senses were alert. I was amidst, kasi it's something like Sirin Yuko. No? It's a Japanese term for being mindful, bathing and basking in the forest. And that I did, no? I was in the midst of different smells. I could smell the humid soil, the decomposing leaves. I was amidst different sounds. I was listening to bird calls and crickets and the rustling of the leaves. I could almost feel God whispering. So I was closing my eyes. Close lang, ganyan. Tapos I turned my back from my group. I just closed my eyes, taking a pause, like what Father Jet said, no? Taking a pause. I observed my seventh day. I took my pause. Then isang friend ko, si Joe Barbaran, sinilipan ako, sumilip na gano'n. Tapos after when I came to, pagtingin ko sa kanya, his eyes were closed also. So, sabi niya, pag nakita niya na I saw him, he said, langya ka naman, Randy, napadasal ako tuloy. But I was thinking, it was not my fault. It was the forest that enticed you, that motivated you to pray. It was God in the forest, the sound of God whispering in the trees. No?
Yes.
The forest became his cathedral. He was not, he's not a religious guy, kaya napahiya siya. No? The forest, nature, Mother Nature became his cathedral. And he had to pray. Take the moment, be mindful of his feelings, his senses, and pray. And that is spirituality. Because this guy, I know the guy, he's not religious. No, he doesn't even go to church, but he felt God in La Mesa Dam. Just like the Native American Indians, they don't have their Bibles, they don't read, but they have a strong sense of God. Every morning they say salute the morning sun. No, they call brother sun and sister moon the way Saint Francis calls his other living thing. That's spiritual. So when we were talking about spirituality, hey, I have to share that because it really hit me. Na-knock out ako doon when I felt God speaking to the group. Yun lang. Yun lang.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Randy. Ganda ng experience. But you
Yeah.
know, really, everything is energy. And every time you go to a forest or where there are so many trees and the energy is so good, that's why you feel good.
Oo.
Yeah, maski sa mountains, sa beach din, ganon. It's the energy is a loving energy, you know?
Oh, Marie, I think Ine is here and she would
Yeah.
like to say something or come up with a
Oh.
question. Marie?
Oh,
Si
Marie,
Ime.
si Ime.
oh, Ime, yes.
No, thank you. Kasi ang lalim mo, Randy. Ayoko na sana magsalita eh.
Come on, Ime.
Yeah. No, I was saying, no, we know Saint Francis of Assisi as the patron of the environment, ecology, and you hear stories about Saint Francis, as he's walking around Assisi, seeing earthworm, putting it back in the soil, because he doesn't kill, little creatures like that.
But then you know what earthworm is. It's now vermicast. So it's really black gold, right? So maybe that's the reason why St. Francis of Assisi was taking care of it. Our president, Vicky Segovia, broke her legs because she was trying to kill an ipis in the bathroom. So is pwede pa ba yun? Yeah. So what can we kill and what can we not kill? Ipis is one, I'm sure, you know. So number two, I grew up with, I'm a boomer, right? So age of boomer. So I have growing up, or even my colleague in the Department of Tourism was, A1 Conyo kid sa Castilla. And he would tell us, you should thank us. Because if we did not come to your country, you'd still all be in G-strings, bahag. And I said, what's wrong with that? Maybe it would even be better. So that's another thing. So Vicky, how long will you be around? I mean, we are the lowlanders are now sort of invading your territories, and we know what is good and what is bad, but it seems that it's hard to practice them. And also that's one more thing. And then another one is okay, Saint Francis, I mean Pope Francis rather, really feels deep with IPs. No, I mean, remember he went to Canada to apologize to the North American Indians for the past, scenes of long before, when they were trying to, take over their lands and so forth and so on. So even with some friends of mine who tells me that I'll go upland because, I will teach the IPs and I like things like that. And I said, you just remain lowland and you tell the IPs to teach you instead of you teaching them, because we have more to learn the IPs than they would learn from us. But I hope, Vicky, the type of, people like you who is educated on all that stuff, could really come up. Robin Kimmerer, North American Indian, who's such a respected person in the botanical scientific world in America and all over. I always listen to her sa Orion magazine because there's a something like a monthly thing. She's super. She's so nice. What do you call this? But she's an IP. So what I'm trying to say is that, do you still have shaman?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you call this? There is this tribe in Brazil, who gathered all the a little tribe in Brazil. I know, yeah, a little tribe in Brazil, and an NGO in America came over to talk to them and wanted to list down or jot down for whatever purposes. I mean, for posterity, their practices. And you know what they did was to tell the kids, the young ones of the tribe who now is adept in Wi-Fi technology and all that stuff, to follow the shaman and list down, what they're trying to say before everything dies out. And that's the native plants, right? The native plants, the plants usually being used as medicinal plants. And you know what, they did not translate their findings, whatever the kids wrote about. They just they did not publish it in English, because again, the pharmaceutical company and whoever will just try to steal all your what your knowledge, and then they get they're rich, and then what happens to you guys? Wala.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, nasaan ba tayo? So anyway, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So will you still be around? I hope you will be around in
I'm still around.
2050.
Yeah.
When 2050, when scientists says, it's a sixth extinction. I have a grandnephew who was born in 2017, and he will be exactly 33 years old in 2050. And he said, pinako sa krus, wala namang kasalanan. That's the age of Jesus Christ, presumably, when he was nailed to the cross. Thank you.
Right.
Wow. This is a very, very nice experience, talking about it. We should encourage a group to talk about values, a webinar discussing values, how to, so that, more people will learn about mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
all the important things, and spirituality and all that, because it's really all about education. The kids now all get their iPads, and
Oo.
and they're so occupied with things like this that they don't think about this at all, no? So yes, Anyway, that's another plan. That's one of my wishes.
Okay, wala na. I don't know whether it's already 5:20.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should call, I think, see Sister Marvy for the closing remarks.
Is Sister Marvy here?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Is Sister Marvy Misolas. She's a Merinol missionary sister. She is also the executive director of ESI, Environmental Studies Institute of Miriam College. She has been an environmental advocate for many years,
yeah.
and she is now also the vice president of Green Convergence.
Which I really would like to, I think, highlight what happened this afternoon. I think what happened is a contemplative dialogue process, that we listen to one another, and I think the pausing is very important. So maybe we can take a little pause of what we just heard to sink in. What is swelling up? What did we hear? I think importante yon, not just knowledge. So, a few moments of prayer. So, I think the speakers all mentioned interconnectedness of things, common good, intergenerational equity, and most of all, compassion to all beings. There is a context to our spirituality. What is our context in this day and age? I just, realized that in 2021, UNEP coined the term triple planetary crisis: climate change, biodiversity loss, and marine plastic pollution. In the midst of this lived experience na nararanasan natin, this is, I think, one of the context of our spirituality. So among interfaith voices, we have heard also there emerged a focus on human dignity, solidarity, the common good, as everyone, and of course the mystical experience. I just would like, I think, to mention about the word nuns, NONES. These are the young people. They're very educated, but they do not profess any religious affiliation, but they are so passionate about justice and care of the environment, care of the earth. They value inclusion, diversity, and equity. I was reminded also of the Earth Charter, in 2000, where it's explicitly called all of us, to ecological integrity, which commits international community to the protection and restoration of the Earth's ecological system, with special concern for biological diversity and the natural processes that sustains life. Um, I won't I would like to, I think Gwen mentioned about the Laudato Si, and I think to close this, I would like to point out that Laudato Si really emphasizes the action of the Spirit in creation, no? So apat na place Laudato Si mentioned about the presence of the Spirit throughout the universe. One is the Spirit, infinite bond of love, is intimately present in the very heart of the universe, inspiring and bringing new pathways. That's Laudato Si 238. Second, the Spirit of God has filled the universe with possibilities, and therefore, from the very heart of things, something new can always emerge. Laudato Si 80 and 88. The entire material universe speaks of God's love, his boundless affection for us. Soil, water, mountains, everything is, as it were, a caress of God. The life, and that's Laudato Si 84. The life of the spirit is not disassociated from the body or from nature or form worldly realities, but lived in and with them, and communion with all that surrounds us. That's Laudato Si, phrase 216. So, what spirituality is needed in our midst? I think this is the spirituality that we need, is that that upholds ecological integrity, a spirituality of compassion, a spirituality of non-violence, and a spirituality that choose the common good over profiteering. And with that, thank you very much. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Sister Marvy.
Thank you.
This has been a very spiritual experience. And I hope, Randy, you will not, we will see you again, even if the topic is not about spirituality. And you may now say your goodbyes, Randy.
Nakamute pala ako. Ang dami ko nang sinabi.
Ang dami mo na sinabi.
Anyway, thank you very much, Sister Marvy. That was very nice. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned from other people as well. All right.
Is that
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much to all our wonderful speakers. And I won't say much anymore. I'm just full of spirit. Let's just love one another, love all of God's creation, and
Be
uh,
mindful.
mindful, and be aware of our interconnectedness. Lahat ng bagay magkakaugnay. Because once we put that in our mind, everything else comes naturally. The loving, the caring, the compassion. Pag alam mong you are connected to everything else, no? Then everything else is you, and everything else comes naturally. Okay.
All right.
You know, the next Kamayan Forum will be on November 15, and I hope to see you all again here. Meantime, consider membership to Green Convergence. We would love to have you with us, and please visit the Ako Ang Bukas website. Okay, and watch out for the Philippine Environment Summit coming up soon in February in Iloilo City. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
See you next
Have a
Kamayan.
great weekend. Have a great weekend,